Thank you, everybody, for coming. We are just absolutely thrilled with how much energy and art and intention you guys have put into this weekend. We actually have FOMO over missing out on a lot of stuff today. So thank you for that. I'm really happy that all existed.
That's what we get for scheduling 3 events at the same time. So we have liked this experience so much, and the space and all the art and food and everything else that everyone's created, that we're thinking of making this a repeat occurrence.
Yeah!
So as part of that, I put up a volunteer spreadsheet for 2019. There's greeters, there are various meals you can cook. Also, there is at least 1 slot for people who want to get married. That is available.
Oh my God. The kid's ecstatic about this.
So we're going to take about the next 20-25 minutes to go through a couple of things. We're going to start with a brief centering meditation. Then Matt and I are going to talk about the people who made us who we are. And we're going to talk about the story of how we got to know each other. We're going to talk about our commitments for ourselves, each other, and the world. And finally, we're going to put everything into context on a more universal scale.
So this is a meditation that I developed on my own as just a way of really wanting to remember special moments. And so I will often do this during special times in my life. I will sit back and reflect on what it means to be a conscious being alive in this world. And I invite you to join me in that. So just take a moment to reflect on the incredible specialness of what it means to be alive, what it means to see what you can see, and hear what you can hear, and feel what you can feel, and smell what you can smell. This is your life right now, in this very moment. Thank you so much. It was lovely to share that with you. So what I'd like to do next is talk about our past, what made us into the people we are. And for that, I very much have to thank my mother. She is the person who created me. She stayed at home and figured out my unique mix of talents and needs and made sure that I had a vast pile of educational materials and everything from toys to games to computer software at a time when kids didn't get a lot of that. And I think that very much helped turn me into the person I am today. And separately, you had incredible affection for me growing up and very deep love and care. So for that, I thank you very much. I'd also like to acknowledge my brother. Together we created amazing imaginary worlds together and had lovely times just building these universes from scratch.
I'd like to acknowledge my family as well. Excuse me. My mother Ludmila and my father Boris were born in the Soviet Union, and my sister Alla already existed when they decided to come over to America. And many years of strife and struggle later, they were settled in Los Angeles and finally had me. And so I want to thank you both for working so hard to bring us here and the whole Lurie clan to America, where I've had so many opportunities. In addition to that, you were always there for me with books and physics and literature and trips to the beach. Thank you so much. I want to acknowledge my sister Alla and my brother-in-law Tom also, and their 3 lovely kids, 2 of whom are right here. Watching their family blossom and grow over the years has partially shaped my decisions to go down a similar path. So thank you so much. So next, we're going to go into a story of how Matt and I met and got to know each other. We met at this festival called Ephemeral, which is, well, it's a crisis management workshop masquerading where a whole bunch of people try to set up land in the middle of the Sacramento River Delta using houseboats and plywood and various weird floating sea shanties, and then try to have a party on top of it and not die. So my first year was staying on Paul Grasshoff's houseboat, and the Universal Connector, and it was hot, so I took off all my clothes and I walked outside to enjoy the cool breeze, and I said, "Isn't it wonderful to be naked?" And this one was walking by.
So we had a few lovely dates over the next few weeks, and I discovered that she had incredible depth and wide-ranging talents. But we were both pretty busy with our lives at that point, and we ended up seeing each other only occasionally over the next couple of years.
So around 2013, I was looking for a new place to live, and Paul Grasshoff struck again. Invited me to move into Tortuga with him and Chris Rash and Matt. And we'd like to thank Paul for his lifelong pursuit of weaving together a wonderful network of people. So over the next 5 months or so, we spent more and more time hanging out together as housemates. And one night, while cuddling, we had this long and thoughtful discussion about whether or not it would be a bad and terrible idea to start dating because we were living together. And finally, we decided that we were both pretty reasonable people and that it was worth taking the risk. So, due to this strange architectural modification at Tortuga, his bedroom and my bedroom connected through a secret closet passageway. And so we thought it'd be cute to keep this kind of a secret for the first couple of months from our roommates. So we'd both go to our separate rooms and scratch at the door. It was cute to open up the door. And so it was like some sort of high school first love summer romance movie.
We had our first early bump in our relationship about 2 months in when we decided last minute to see if we could catch the northern lights up in Alaska. We basically waited for there to be a solar flare, and then we bought plane tickets that day. And due to a series of sleep deprivation and communication difficulties, we ended up almost breaking up. And I'd like to credit Annika over here for convincing me to not break up with Helen. She was like, all of life has bumps. No relationship is perfect. Life is going to have challenges, but it seems like she has a lot of good qualities, and I would not let go of this one. And you were right. So 4 years and many, many adventures later, we were on a road trip through Norway, and we were visiting one of Norway's most famous fjords. And on this trip, we were talking a lot about whether we should get married. We had been talking about it for about 6 months. We were being very rational, very thorough creatures about this. And I decided at that point I was ready to take a leap of faith. And so we're standing at the edge of this fjord, and it's incredibly cold out, and the water's even colder, and it's this 15-foot cliff, and there are these tourist ferry boats passing by. So I waited for a gap in the ferry boats, took all my clothes off, and said, "Isn't it wonderful to be naked?" And it's a good thing I got back to shore before hypothermia set in. I did plan an escape route. But I came out, and then I made a metaphorical leap of faith, and get married. And it's been pretty incredible from there on in.
Things got easier for us once we got married. In like the months that we were talking about our, long-term future, there was some tension between us because we didn't know what the long-term plan was. And once we settled on a plan, we just both just chilled out, and so that felt really good. So we kept this quiet from everybody for a few months, and we decided to announce our engagement on the day of the total solar eclipse last year because it was a date that Matt had been looking forward to for the last 7 years of his life, and a day that we both saw as symbolic of long-term thinking, which is what this was about. So next, we're going to go through the commitments we're going to make to ourselves, each other, our community, and the world. And we'd like to start with a brief meditation about your commitments. You guys all brought commitments here to this weekend, and think about what you're going to do with your leftover time here and with your leftover time on Earth, maybe. But a couple of minutes, and feel free to talk about it with a neighbor or sit quietly. So for our commitments to ourselves, I choose to create as much value as I can and embrace challenges. I choose to nurture connection more than distance. And I choose to live in the future more than in the past.
I choose to strive to achieve my fullest potential. I choose to make my brain a nice place to live. And I choose to take the long view and to not be troubled by momentary bumps. And now we have some commitments for each other. I choose to love you and cherish you, and shower you with physical and emotional affection.
Choose the same for you. I will love you and I will cherish you, and I will give you physical and emotional affection.
Helen, I choose to give you a mix of encouragement and feedback to help you be the best version of you.
And I will also reciprocate that. I will also gently guide you and encourage you to help you be the best version of you.
And finally, I choose to create a family, a community house, and an amazing life together, filled with friends, happiness, adventures, and intellectual fulfillment.
I will co-create this life with you. I want a community house with children and our friends, intellectual adventures, and wandering adventures.
But that's not all. For our community, for all of you, we choose to help you achieve your life goals and support you in whatever comes your way.
We choose to continue creating space and events for people to come together and fill with their words, energy, ideas, and art.
And for the world, we choose to do our part to help create an enlightened and resilient culture.
And we will also devote our time to creating beneficial tools that benefit humanity. So, weddings have always been a blend of bacchanalia, verbal commitments, and an ask that the community cherish and support the union. So with respect to that last part, we have 3 requests of all of you. Please, expose us to amazing ideas that will inspire and excite us. Support us when we're struggling, and hold us accountable and help us be better people. And we invite you to take a minute to offer these or other commitments that we may not have thought of to us. If you'd like to say anything right now, just shout it out.
What was the prompt?
I got it. Do you have any commitments that you would enjoy sharing with us or with this community right now?
Always accept you. Thank you for this. Always be kind.
It's very important that no local kids sneak onto this wedding, so I'm going to make sure that we are properly ID'd here.
Good.
We will. All right, it's good to be legit. So finally, what we'd like to do is reflect on where we've come from, where we're going, and our own special place in the universe. So based on the available evidence, we all began as a rapidly expanding ball of slightly uneven matter that rocketed through space. Now over time, these slight lumps in the matter began to coalesce into clouds of dust. And those clouds of dust coalesced into stars. Now some of those stars were way too enormous. They became fires of nuclear fusion that collapsed in supernova and spread heavy elements off into space. As that mix of matter changed, some of that started to coalesce to form other stars with systems of planets around them. Now, on a precious few of those star systems, the conditions were just right. It was neither rigid order nor complete chaos. And on that edge between chaos and order, complexity emerged. And there was a certain special type of complex pattern that could reach out to surrounding matter and make more copies of that pattern. This matter had learned to replicate and to affect the world. And this was the launch of something very special, because for the first time, the universe could look back on itself. This was the beginning of the universe's journey to self-awareness.
Life diversified, and organisms with the strongest drives to gather resources and reproduce began to dominate. It was a brutal world, and life forms killed each other to gain precious energy. Some animals learned to cooperate. Animals and lions, they gather and hunt together and share their resources. Over time, some tree rodents found that through increasing brain size, they could innovate and collaborate in ways that had never been seen before. They learned to use speech, and they could share ideas with the ease of a mind reader. They learned to make sophisticated tools. They became primates, and then they became humans.
Over time, this drive towards self-preservation and replication had created something else entirely, a civilization. So we had learned to mostly stabilize the food supply and build transportation networks that enabled us to create cities with millions of people, allowing us to gather in ways that were never before possible. We also created networks for sharing information, first with letters and newspapers, then with radio and television and the internet. We also created social structures and moral codes and bureaucracies and companies and the social systems that enabled us to create modernity. We also created art and poetry and music. In short, we created a way of transcending the place from which we came. We managed to put almost 8 billion of us, 8 billion conscious beings onto the planet.
New challenges emerged, many of them of our own making. We're pushing on the limits of the world's air, water, and biosphere. In our rush for self-preservation, we've ironically developed the capability to push a button and wipe everything off this planet. We haven't pushed that button yet, and I hope we don't, but there's no guarantee. We're also developing AI, and this automation could come back to haunt us in ways we can't yet imagine.
We've received an incredible cosmic endowment, a rare gift for sentience, and a galaxy surrounding us of worlds to explore. Whether we choose to take this cosmic endowment, this special gift, and spread, or choose to be crushed under the weight of our own short-sightedness, is up to us.
We're going to take a last moment here to reflect on this incredible path we are all on, the challenges we've overcome in the past to be here, and the opportunities that lie before us in the future. Billions of stars in the galaxy, and billions of galaxies beyond that. We are tiny specks of light in a giant ocean of darkness, but we're some really special tiny specks.
So we invite you to be quiet for a moment to reflect on the vastness of this cosmic narrative. The crucial time that we're alive. It is quite possible that in our lifetimes, the fate of this cosmic narrative will be decided. So we would love to invite you to take a moment to reflect on what part you could play in this cosmic narrative and what difference you can make.
Four levels down in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Let's break for dinner.